Tesla's earnings call is tomorrow, and this is a quarterly report, quarterly results that we're going to be talking about it. Is Model 3 going to help or hurt the results? And this time it's definitely going to be all about the Q&A. I think we kind of know what to expect, and Wall Street kind of knows what to expect. So, but let's talk about that also. It's the beginning of the new month, so it's a lot of sales reports for other companies are coming up as well. And this time there were some surprises. We're going to talk about that as well. And comment of the day today is probably one of the most frustrating ones that I had, so stay tuned for that. Coming up next. All right, thank you for watching me live on Patreon and supporting the show, or if you're watching it on YouTube, that's perfectly fine as well. I repost right away, so welcome, and please consider subscribing if this is your first time watching. That way you won't miss anything moving forward. All right, Q1. Now, I know the first quarter ended like a month ago, and I know Tesla already reported their deliveries, so I know it's kind of weird, but this is how it's all done. A month later, there is a earnings call where Elon answers questions, and this is entertaining. Lately, it hasn't been as entertaining, but I think this time is definitely going to be. This is a big deal because this time it's not so much about the delivery. So we know they delivered about 30,000 cars altogether, and it's what we're talking about, 11,000 Model S's, 10,000 Model X's or so. This is rough numbers, and then I think 8,000 or 9,000 of Model 3s. So we know that the expectations are pretty low. I mean, yes, the earnings are going to suffer, and the revenues are going to be flat compared to the previous quarter, but still comparing to the same quarter last year, it's going to be an increase as well. So those expectations are set. I don't think there's going to be any surprises there. But, well, actually, there might be, because remember, there's still Tesla Energy part of this whole deal, and Tesla's been installing and selling a lot of power walls to different countries and government entities and companies. So there is an expectation that they might just go ahead and start surprising us with the earnings that they get from the revenues that they get from that. I just reported on one of the first solar roofs that was installed. Now, I know the owner said that the Tesla is not expected to continuously install a lot of them in the next few months, but this is a big step. I know the Buffalo factory has been cranking up way more than before. So watch that. I would be really curious about that. But of course, all eyes are on Model 3, just simply because this is kind of a make it or break it, I guess, especially with Elon Musk saying that they won't need to be raising any money, that they're going to be profitable in the next quarter. I'm looking forward to it. As far as predictions, I don't even want to make any, because some of them are already set in stone almost, but some of them are kind of a wild card, and I think it's going to be a lot about not so much what happened in the past, but what Elon is going to say is going to happen in the future. Obviously, he's going to give update whether how well they're doing on hitting their milestone of 5,000 Model 3s per week rate, and hopefully he's going to give more about what to expect from Tesla Energy division, and of course, whether or not they're going to have to raise money. And oh yeah, so don't forget, the Model Y and semi-truck are kind of due to start production next year. Now that everything's kind of sorted out with China, will he announce the factory in China, which is actually pretty, relatively something that a lot of people are expecting that's going to happen. So that's going to be very interesting. Now, before we move on to the global and US sales for electric cars that are coming out, let me remind you that this channel and this video is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla, and there's a discount code in the description of this video. Okay, so the reports are coming in now. I'm relying mainly on everything that InsideEVs.com website kind of compiled out of everything that's available right now. These numbers are trickling in throughout the entire month. So these are kind of a preliminary numbers. And in the US, Model 3 looks like it's on top again. I believe the number is 3,875 of them being sold. Now, that's pretty much the same number as last month. So that's a little bit of discouraging. Obviously, the fact that they sold more Model 3s than any other model. is good. Obviously, Model S and Model X are following that. Now, Nissan Leaf is a little bit odd that the US sales actually dropped. The previous month in March, they've sold 1,500 of them, which wasn't even that much because their global sales are kicking butt, right? They're beyond 10,000 of those sold per month, and that was last month because of Europe and because of Japan. They sell thousands of them in Japan. So after 1,500 of them being sold in March, everybody expected, you know, 2 to even 3,000. That really should have been the number, but they're under 1,200 this month. And now they're saying it's an issue of a supply rather than a demand, which is most likely true. But at the same time, people know that they're going to have a much better version of the new Nissan Leaf the next year, available at the end of this year, 2019 model. So maybe people are waiting. So maybe there is a demand issue. But nevertheless, that's very surprising. For the second month in a row, Chevy Volt with a V outsold Chevy Bolt, which is not good news for Chevy Bolt, and those sales are not really growing. But there is still few manufacturers are supposed to report the numbers, and they haven't reported them yet. Now, as far as worldwide sales, and Inside EV does a really good job doing that as well. Right now, they kind of solidify the numbers January through March, right? Those are kind of lagging about a month, which is fine. Now, here's what's interesting. Now, Nissan Leaf is now the most sold electric car in the world per month as far as one model, but Tesla is #1 manufacturer of electric cars in the world because obviously the global total sales are of 3 models that they're selling. Now that's pretty good because really those numbers have been dominated by BYD and Bike, which are Chinese-based companies that are just making cars, electric cars and plug-in hybrid cars in China. And nobody really, at least here in the United States and in Europe, not many people know about these companies, but they've been leaders. So this is very interesting. This is the first time I'm actually seeing Nissan Leaf and then Tesla, or basically non-Chinese company, leading those charts, and this is year up to date. So definitely encouraging, very interesting. Now, let me move on to something that's been on my mind, which is, usually I enjoy this. The comments of the day are great. The comments in general section I enjoy. Unfortunately, I'm not able to read or comment on all of them anymore, simply because this channel has grown to the point where just reading comments is a full-time job. But I do guarantee that I reply to comments of everybody who comments on Patreon. Okay, so here's the frustrating part, and I'm kind of used to, I know channel has grown quite a bit in the last few months, and I get my own share of haters and trolls, and I don't mind. I try to kind of clear the comment section from their comments, but here's a comment that really bugs me, I have to say, and not this particular one. I've been seeing quite a few of them. Now this one's come from John, and it looks like John is an engaged viewer who supposedly cares about the subject and everything, and this is about my explanation why Model S is a better car than Model 3, as we were talking about pricing, right? Just about comparing prices to what you get. My intent wasn't even really comparing them. Now he says saying Model S is a better car is a subjective statement. The only thing you keep naming is the bigger size. Some people prefer a smaller car, in which case I would argue the 3 may be a better car. Here's what's frustrating. Actually, I went back and I looked at my video. Didn't really have to do it, because I remember that size wasn't the only thing that I've mentioned. Though size does matter in this case, because Mercedes-Benz S-Class costs much more than Mercedes C-Class, and part of it is because it's a bigger car. This is just how this damn thing works. Same thing with any other car, including Tesla. You get a bigger car for it, more space. Yes, I understand that some people need a smaller car, but it doesn't mean that it's a better car. For example, most people prefer, if money is no object, to dine in a French cuisine and have a filet mignon. Now, me, true story, I love McDonald's. I know, I admit it, but I love McDonald's. So to me, a Big Mac tastes better than filet mignon. Does that mean that the Big Mac is better food, a better type? No, it's not. I'm fully aware, but it's junk food. Just because it's better for me or maybe some other people doesn't mean that it's better food. Same thing goes for the Model 3. Now, I'm not calling it a Big Mac, by the way. Don't write me on that. But still, a bigger car, Model S, is just a more premium sedan for the money. Now, I have also, again, if you go back to the video and you watch, you know, I've mentioned that there's a HUD that a lot of people is kind of a deal breaker in Model 3. Door handles, the performance, you get way better performance out of a, you know, a higher level of Model S, where Model 3 kind of caps out. Right now, there's no dual motor or air suspension for the Model 3. Obviously, the screen is bigger, and there's tons and tons of other things that I've mentioned that somehow, free supercharging, I mentioned that, just somehow this person just decided to completely ignore and basically make a false statement. So I don't even know how to have a conversation with somebody like this, because on one hand, he replied to the video. On another hand, he's either didn't pay attention, ignored facts, or just didn't watch the entire video. So I really don't know how to handle these. You know, by the way, on top of everything, Elon Musk himself said the Model S is a better car. So it's funny how these people believe him for everything that he says until it's not really fitting with their own views. But the bottom line is, I'm sorry, again, don't shoot the messenger here, especially if you watch the entire video. Model S is just a better car than the Model 3. Yes, Model 3 may be a better fit for some people than the Model S, but as far as comparing what kind of a car it is, so it's easier to compare what you get for your money, Model S is it. Anyway, feel free to comment again. Just please watch the video. Please understand what we're talking about. Please don't ignore some of the facts that I put out there. And then we might have actually pretty good conversation. As you know, I've been pretty generous as far as allowing and embracing other people's opinions, even if they don't agree with mine. That's fine. My goal here is not to be right. My goal here is to create a discussion. But this is not a discussion. This is just kind of a, you know, it's just throwing mud without really even knowing who you're aiming at. And this is the stuff that I really don't like, and it kind of drives me crazy. So that's my rant for the day there. But I'm looking forward to the comments about it in the comment section. All right, so that's pretty much it for me. Oh, well, I probably, way before I do that, I probably should mention that the upcoming interviews that I got coming up, I'm excited about these. Let me switch back to that. Sorry guys, I totally forgot about that one. Here we go. Yeah. So, all right, well, the Zach and Jess interview, a lot of people are commenting and watching it. The most watched on average video that I've had as far as interviews are concerned. John LaFleur of Workhorse, he's a VP of Products, going to be here this Saturday. It's going to be exciting. And Henrik Fisker is going to be here the week after that. And I'm also working on some other interesting interviews I think you guys will enjoy. Okay, I think now I can get to here and basically remind you that I'll be live here tomorrow on Patreon and a repost on YouTube at 11 a.m. Pacific time, as I always do. Other than that, I will see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.